All righty. Welcome. I am Heather Pierce Campbell, the legal website warrior. I am an attorney and legal coach based here in Seattle, Washington, and serving entrepreneurs around the U.S. and the world. Welcome to another episode of Guts, Grit, and Great Business. I'm so excited to have our guest, Sam Silverstein, here with us today. Welcome, Sam.
Heather Pierce Campbell, you are amazing, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. We're going to have a great conversation, I sense.
We are going to have a great conversation. This is going to be fun. It's a great topic. I really love what you're up to. I know you've got some really interesting things in the works, and so I'm super excited to share this conversation. For those of you that don't know Sam Silverstein is an accountability and leadership keynote speaker. He is on a mission to empower people to live accountable lives, transform the way they do business, and to thrive at extraordinary levels. By challenging leaders to shift priorities, cultivate an organizational culture, and inspire both individuals and teams to take ownership in fresh and results-producing ways, he is helping companies dramatically increase productivity, profitability, and growth. Global Gurus has named Sam as one of the world's top organizational culture professionals. Sam is the founder of the Accountability Institute and the Certified Accountability Advisor. He is the author of 11 books, including Am Accountable, Non-Negotiable, No More Excuses, Making Accountable Decisions, No Matter What, and The Success Model. As a former executive and owner, Sam successfully sold one of his businesses to a Fortune 500 company. Today, Sam writes, speaks, and consults with organizations around the globe to think differently, work with renewed purpose, and achieve record-breaking results. He works with entrepreneurs, multinational companies, corporations, and government agencies to drive increased accountability, engagement, and productivity. So, Sam, there's a lot going on here. I feel like we could have a conversation that lasts a lot longer than our allotted time, but I'm so grateful, and especially knowing what's going on in your life right now, I'm so grateful that you're here and joining us.
Well, thank you. It really is an honor to be here. So I'm looking forward to where we end up in our conversation and being able to help your listeners be able to put something out there that's of value, that makes a difference for them in their lives, the lives of their people in their business, their family, their community. So we're going to rip it up today.
Oh, I know we will. And I know it will be of tremendous value. So we were chatting a little bit before we got started about your experience. You're obviously a phenomenal speaker. You've gotten some amazing accolades and acknowledgement for the work that you're doing with organizations, businesses around the world, and really changing company cultures, changing individuals in the way that they relate to and think about accountability. Talk to us. I want to first ask you about this like super niche that you have, right? This niche or niche of accountability. How did that become the thing for you?
Well, it's kind of interesting because my background is in business. I was in business. I was in two family businesses. I was in business with my parents. I was in business with my in-laws, and I had two positive experiences.
Hmm.
But with a background, my undergraduate degrees in accounting and finance, I have an MBA, all this business background. When I started speaking, I was talking about everything. I had a sales program, I had a creative marketing program, I had a personal development program, I had creating a meaningful relationship program. And so while I was so busy doing it all because I had experience, really, I wasn't focused. And not only was I not focused, and did that, and it did hurt my business because of that. It also kept others from being able to refer me because they didn't know what to refer me for. They didn't know what I was really great at. And come on, we can't realistically say we're great at everything because that's not the case. So it was in that moment that I listened to a speaker. His name is Joe Calloway. He's a good friend, but just an amazing speaker. And he gave a seminal speech, and the thought from that speech was pick a lane, pick a lane. And that's when I had to stop and really pick a lane. And when I looked at what I was about, what I taught, what I spoke about, what was at the very core that just was at who I was, my purpose, then I realized it came down to accountability. And so that's when I put the blinders on. And when I put the blinders on, everything changed, because now looking at everything through that lens, I was hyper focused and super productive. And that's when things started to just blow up in a real positive way.
There's several things that you just said that I really love and that I think people relate to. One is this idea that we can have a lot of interest and have a lot of strengths. And, we may not be the best at all of them, but a lot of people are really well rounded, and they come by that through lots of experience and exposure to different things in their lives. And if you are trying to become an expert and known for something, you do have to pick a lane. It's, even to this point of people didn't know how to refer you, right? It's like you have to choose the hook. You have to decide what is it that's really going to hook people and that you can hang your hat on and get very focused. I'm still curious why it was accountability. How did you connect the dots to decide that accountability was the thing for you?
So I spent considerable time thinking about what I had been doing, what I was teaching, what meant something to me. And through this process, I realized that the foundational way of thinking is one that's forged in accountability. So if we have so what's important in business? Oh, well, trust is important. Well, yeah. Well, trust is built on a foundation of accountability. What else is important in business? Well, great leadership is important. Oh, well, guess what? Accountability is the highest form of leadership. What else is important in business? Well, we need a creative team. We want innovation in our organization. Well, guess what? That flows from an organization that has a culture that prioritizes and inspires accountability. You tell me what what positive attribute you want to have in your life as a parent, as a spouse, as a child, as a community leader, as a business owner, and I'm going to show you how that goes back to accountability. And I came by that realization at that point. And all right, Heather, we're just putting this out there. Here's the thing. It wasn't until the blinders went on and I started going down this road for several years that I realized how on target I was. I thought I was on target, but I didn't understand it until I was several years down the road. I believe that this particular topic is yes, I have 11 books. I'm in the process of writing the 12th book. I have concepts for 3 or 4 more books to follow. I'm possessed with this. We created our Accountability Institute. We are teaching and helping people become certified accountability advisors. All of this. I don't own any of this. It was given to me. I am a steward of it, and it's my responsibility to take care of the message, deliver the message, and help people incorporate it in their lives individually and organizationally. And so, how did I come to that discovery? Well, part of it I was supposed to. Part of it just naturally formed. And I've been running with it ever since and discovering more literally every day of my life ever since. So it's what I'm supposed to be doing. It connects to my unique purpose. It connects to my mission. And
well, I can
hear
that. Yes, I can hear it in the way that you speak about the topic. You know when someone is living their purpose when they talk about something the way that you just did. Talk to me about what people misidentify as their problem, because I suspect that there's a lot of people that have an accountability problem, but they're labeling it something else. And whether it's a problem in their individual life, whether it's a problem in their organization or their small business, talk to me about what happens, where the breakdowns are, but it's actually an accountability problem.
See, I love this. This, I can tell you right now, we're not even halfway in, and this is going to be one of my all-time favorite conversations because we didn't chat about this. And I see where you're going, and this is powerful. So the challenge, why do we have problems with accountability? We know we have problems with accountability as a society, as a world. And so the reason we have a problem with accountability is because we don't get it. If we understood it and we could step it out, we wouldn't have the problem. So let's just accept that we have a problem. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now the question is, how do we go about fixing it? So the reality is that everything we've been taught about accountability is wrong. Accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking. We have been taught that getting stuff done makes you accountable. Do it. Take the trash out. Get the report done. Make your 50 sales calls. Check it off the list. Yes. And then you are accountable. No, you're not. None of that makes you accountable. All of that makes you responsible, because you're responsible for things, but you're accountable to people. Accountability always involves people. It involves a relationship between people. When I work with an organization, helping them build this, whether it's a 6-person organization or 60,000 people in the organization or a global organization, if they have challenges, personal challenges, relationship challenges, I know they have an accountability problem. If they have an accountability problem, I know they have relationship problems. So accountability is keeping your commitments to people. The commitments, though, are not tactical commitments. Tactical commitments, I'll meet you at 4 o'clock. I'll have the report done by 5 o'clock on Friday. Let's have lunch Monday at noon. Those are all tactical commitments. They're spoken, they're agreed to, and we execute on those. Tactical commitments deliver productivity. Productivity is important in an organization. Productivity goes to profitability. Relational commitments that I'm talking about, and there are 10, relational commitments all connect people. So it's a commitment to live the values, a commitment to stand by you when all hell breaks loose, a commitment to discover your potential and lead you to be your best. It's those types of commitments that leaders don't have to speak about. They make them in their heart, in their mind, in their soul, and they keep them. And in doing so, it's those relational commitments that build accountability. Now, when you build accountability, because of relational commitments, accountable people will also yield a greater level of productivity, because, Heather, I would rather die than let you down. So
Right.
relational commitments yield accountability. An increase in accountability will increase your productivity, will increase your bottom line. Tactical or transactional commitments go towards productivity, but have no impact on accountability.
Well,
Was
and
that too much to throw out there on the table to digest?
it is a lot to digest, but for me, the big takeaway, and I was hoping you would get there, is that accountability is about fundamentally building relationships, right?
Yes.
And
It's a
doing
way
that,
of thinking.
yes, and doing that in the right way that supports the goals, supports the productivity of the individual, of the organization. It's the concept that, together, even when I was reading recently some articles on relational lawyering, this idea that together we win, together, even when we have, quote unquote, an adversary on the other side, if we can have a relational approach to that, we are much more likely to be creative in an outcome that actually is something that we want, is something that maybe even we both want, because we've stepped away from this other approach. And so I think, accountability boiling down to a mindset around how we build relationships makes it really an easy, like, not easy concept to consume, but to understand where it fits.
Yeah, it's real easy to understand. It's not easy to step out.
To
That's
implement.
the challenge.
No.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Since I said accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking. Specifically, it's how we think about people. What action follows belief. When we believe that accountability is about relationships and people, then we act differently. We treat people differently. We commit to them differently. We get a different result. I know you're an amazing attorney. I know the kind of work that you do. If you were to take me on as a client, the question becomes, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but why do you want me as a client? Why do you want me as a client? And so if you want me as a client because you're trying to sell something, well, I could probably bill 10 hours a year with Sam at X number of dollars, and I'm buying my kids a new swing set or whatever the heck, we're attaching that money to. Or do you want me as a client because I know, Sam, you're into some pretty amazing stuff. I want to help you be more successful. I want to see you thrive. I want to protect you so you don't lose anything along the way. If you're looking to serve me, to deliver value to me, then that's a different relationship. And at the end of the day, you're going to make the money. Now, here's the thing. Our purpose is what brings us joy in the service of others. I help clients step this out individually and organizationally. Our purpose is what brings us joy in the service of others. I never said anything about money. I never said anything about physical, tangible goals like I want to drive a Corvette. I want a 5-bedroom home. I want a house on the shore. Those are all great things. We can want those, but they're never going to be your purpose. Mm-hmm. Making money is fine. It's not your purpose. Breathing is something that we have to do to live, but breathing is not our purpose. We need money to put food on the table, clothe our kids, take care of our health, but it's not our purpose. And so until we are able to differentiate between that and see people not as a means to an end, but as an opportunity to serve, we'll never build the kind of business we could build because we're never going to build the kind of relationships we could build. And it's only when we build these deep, accountable relationships that people will trust us to serve them at the deepest level, that people will trust us enough to refer us. And so that's where the magic happens. You got me fired up, Heather.
Well, I love it. And I love it when people get fired up. And, in my mind, I'm thinking that, the examples, you see it in the news there, and I'm on LinkedIn. I connect a lot on LinkedIn. I really enjoy following leaders that talk about company culture, organizational culture, management, and particularly those that are really primed to be thinking about how to create a company environment that's a win-win-win, right? A win for the company, a win for the employees, and a win for clients, obviously, clients or customers. But I still think so many companies miss the mark. They see employees as cogs in the wheel, right? They've got this machine they need to run. What are some of the telltale signs? Because you're the one that gets to be inside some of these companies when breakdowns are happening, right?
Yeah. Why do they see them that way?
Right.
Why? Yeah. Why do they? What do you think? Why do they see them that way?
I don't know. I'm very much a people person, and the way that I've built each of my businesses has been totally relational. I'm the person who should not be doing the interviewing because I would just want to hire everyone, right? And I really just have a heart like that. But, yes, we have to make hard decisions. Yes, it needs to be good for our business, but I think there is an old school mindset or mentality that you can't have it all. You can't create a business that is really, provides for employees in the way that you want to. And I could be wrong, but I do see kind of a newer mentality emerging among younger business leaders and people who are really spoken on this topic versus those who really bought into this idea that, business is a machine. It's about numbers. It's about reports. It's about, the bottom line at the end of every day. And I just feel very differently about it. But you're the expert. So you tell us why why there are companies that are that way.
If you have two horses connected to a plow and you want them to pull that plow across the field and you only need to do it one time, but you need to do it as fast as humanly possible, what do? You have two horses connected to the plow. What do you do to get them to go across that field as fast as possible? You beat the crap out of them. Now, as sad as that is, you take a whip, you hit them, They take off. They're going to pull that plow across the field, and that's what you've done. And so at the end of the day, you were amazing. Your numbers are incredible. And if that's what you want in a business, you want your numbers incredible at the end of the day, beat the crap out of your people. Go in there, yell at them, scream at them, put the fear in them. Go in there and hold them accountable. But that's short term. That's just today. That's who wants to. Horses don't want to work in that environment. People don't want to work in that environment.
No, my sister on this point, my sister who did not grow up in sales, she now is a phenomenal, she's in sales, she's phenomenal at it, but she's really outspoken in a way that brings me a lot of joy because I've watched her evolve. But she is in a sales position for a medical device company that has, hardcore numbers to meet and sales quotas and, thousands of representatives around the country. And they get together and have these team meetings. And she had a new manager come in that was assigned to her department and lambast some people in her group, right, over quotas. And it was in a public setting. She was so upset that in the middle of that meeting, she was like, look, you treat people like this again, I will not show up. I will not come to these things. This is not what I'm here to do. And I was so proud of her, but she had a really difficult conversation in the middle of that meeting in front of people. And do you know that he's never done that again? He called her afterwards. He wanted to figure it out. He apologized. He's totally changed the approach in those meetings. But somewhere, I think he got taught, you've got to put the fear of God in people to get them to perform.
All right. So what type of interview are we having right now? What type of call is this? I know this sounds like a trick question.
I know, I do feel tricked. I mean,
let's say I come to your office as you're the attorney and I'm coming for your services. What kind of meeting is that?
For me, the initial call is just an introductory call. It's
okay. What is it for a lot of leaders in a lot of businesses when they talk to their people? It's business. And how many times have we heard a leader say, this isn't personal, it's
right, it's business.
Business. Now, guess what? Every interaction between two human beings is personal.
Yeah.
You and I are having a personal conversation right now. Are we talking about business? Sure we are. Are we talking about your business and my business? Yes. Are we talking about the intersection of those two businesses? Yes. But in this time, I'm thinking, oh, we've talked before, but here we are, we're having another conversation. I'm in love with you. I mean, from the standpoint, you're an amazing human being. I love the way you think. I love the conversation. I want to know you more. I want to know how I can serve you better. And I feel that coming from you. And I'm like, yes, these are the kinds of relationships I want in my world. Okay. Now, if I came to you with a legal issue, okay, we forged this friendship, this bond, you're going to bust your chops for me. And not only that, I'm going to go, man, I need to find Heather some more clients because I just want her freaking to succeed. I want her and her husband to have this amazing life. I want their children to thrive. If I introduce her to 3 of my friends that could use her services, this is what I'm talking about. And so going back to what you said before, when I said, why do leaders see it that way? They don't think they can have it all. That's just, I know you don't think that. They think that. It's wrong thinking.
Yes.
It's a scarcity mindset rather than an abundance mindset.
Yes.
The
scarcity mindset piece, because even I grew up raised by an entrepreneur. I've observed business since I was a kid, and you notice it when you intersect with somebody who believes that business is a zero-sum game versus there's enough pie to go around. Everybody can have it. It's a very different way of being in business and doing business and leading your business and connecting with customers. It's just entirely different.
It's real simple. How many attorneys are there in the United States?
Too many. I don't know the number.
Well, let's just, can we agree on lots?
Lots.
Okay. Are there some bad ones out there?
Certainly.
Okay. Are there some good ones, really good ones out there?
There's some phenomenal ones.
Yeah. Are there a lot of phenomenal ones out there?
Right.
The, yeah, there's a ton of phenomenal attorneys. Look, Heather, I don't care how good you are. You don't have the exclusivity on being really good. There's a
No.
ton of really good ones out there. I've coached all my kids in sports and whatnot, and you see these parents, they think Johnny or Susie, whatever, is going to get this scholarship because they're an amazing soccer player, and maybe they do end up getting a scholarship to a small college in the middle of nowhere. Not because they aren't really, really, really good, but there's just a ton of them. There's a ton of really good kids at soccer. There's a ton of really smart kids. One of my children, we went for a tour at Harvard, actually, and the gentleman from Harvard says we could fill our class 9 times with the same quality freshman class, which means there's an abundance to pick from. So, why do some companies outperform other companies? Is it because some companies there aren't enough good people to go around? No, we've already just proven there's an abundance of great talent. So why do some companies thrive and others don't? It's because the companies that thrive have leaders that value their people. Remember, I said accountability is a way of thinking. Valuing people is a way of thinking. They value their people. They want their people to work in an amazing environment, a culture. They want their people to know that they are respected, that they are cared for, that they are important, and the success of those people is of prime importance to that leader. And so they have now created a workplace culture that attracts the best, retains the best, and stomps the competition. Not because they got lucky and got a few good people and there aren't enough to go around. No, they built the type of organization that attracts those people and keeps those people. And if your organization isn't doing that, you will be left behind.
This point I feel like is so relevant right now we've been 16, 17, how long has it been? 398 months during COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
A lifetime.
A lot. But it's so fascinating because you see, you can drive around certain communities and see signs up, and I've seen numerous of them, not in Seattle, outside of Seattle, but we haven't reopened doors because we can't find help. And signs like this, whereas I don't know if you're connected. I'll just put his name out here because anybody listening to this podcast should also be following him. A gentleman named Dan Price on LinkedIn, who is CEO of Gravity Payments, which is based here in Seattle. And he got a lot of press years ago because he took a huge pay cut, put everybody on a $70,000 starting salary. And he's really outspoken in the marketplace about how you take care of employees. And I have followed his company closely during COVID, in part because I have wanted to see, how he handles COVID as a small business owner, trying to keep business alive. And he supports hundreds and maybe thousands of small businesses right through his work. And so they've worked really hard to create win-win-wins, and it can be done. He is living proof, and his company is living proof that when other companies are failing and saying that they can't do X and they can't do Y, he's doing X and Y and creating a huge success out of it.
Exactly. And the challenge is that so many leaders are, well, first of all, they were trained by bad leaders, so they have bad habits. Second of all, they're focused on the tactics of the business. And so I'm here to tell you that you should never spend more than 50% of your time on the tactics of the business. You should be spending at least 50% of your time on the spirit of the business, the culture of the business. I did an interview once with Drayton McLean Jr. Drayton McLean Jr. took a family food distribution business that was doing $2.5 million. And when I spoke to him, he had sold it to Walmart and was doing in excess of $2 billion. So he went from $2.5 million to in excess of $2 billion. And he said, Sam, the number one responsibility of the CEO is to protect and defend the culture. What type of culture do you think is created when the leader of that culture is willing to dial back their salary to make sure that everyone else has a respectable salary that they can live their life? It's like the restaurant in San Francisco. I don't remember the name. They eliminated tipping, no tipping. They put fair prices on all their food. All their employees are salaried employees. They have 401 plans. They have paid vacation. They have health care. They're treated like real employees. Do you think in the restaurant business that they're having trouble finding people to work there? No way. And then you have the Burger King. Just this past week, I saw that all their employees left one day. They just all up and quit because they didn't like the way they were treated. Accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking. And specifically, it's how you think about your people. It's like the leader that told me I have 32 headaches and each one has a first name. That's a way of thinking. It's like the leader the night before I'm supposed to speak to 500 people in middle management in his organization leaned across the dinner table and said, Sam, you've spoken for us before. You know our group. The group tomorrow that you're speaking to, no one has graduated from college. Just keep it simple and share 3 good points and it'll be a great program. That's a way of thinking. That way of thinking is saying just because you don't have a college degree, you have a ceiling. That is not the way of thinking that a leader or anyone should have. Accountability isn't a way of doing, it's a way of thinking. And if you don't have the right way of thinking, you're not going to build the right organization.
I'm so curious about how you get into places like this that are experiencing turmoil or, even a small business that so far has done it wrong. What does it take to flip that kind of, I'm just going to call it stinking thinking, right? How is it just a ton of work? What does it take to get somebody to come around?
Most of the companies that are really crappy, they don't hire me.
They're not hiring you.
They're not hiring me. It's not going to happen. And the reason they're really crappy is they don't get it. You see, they don't even know what they don't know. They don't even realize they have a problem. I was speaking with someone in an organization that had 250 locations on a global footprint. And it was down to me and one other person. And I started asking them some questions about their values. And I said, well, one of the things is when we're done working together, leadership at all 250 organizations will be living your values uniformly the same way. And then she said, everyone's going to live the values the same way? That can happen? I said, yeah. She says, I don't believe that. They didn't hire me because they didn't believe that. Well, if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Come on. Yeah. And if you allow someone to stay in your organization that's living the values differently at this location than another location, are those really your values? And if they're not your values, but you're putting them on your website, isn't that tantamount to being a liar? If you say they're your values, but you don't require them, you don't require all of us in this organization to live them, doesn't that make you a liar? And then the next question is, who the heck wants to do business with a liar?
Right. Well, it's like a parent, do what I say, not what I do. Right.
Exactly. How does that parenting work?
That does not work at all.
Yeah, I want to know where you've stepped that out with your little one.
Right. Anybody that's ever tried that. Yeah.
And when there's a payoff on that, there is no such thing as a payoff on that.
No.
But that's a way of thinking.
Yeah.
Action follows belief. If something's not working in an organization, do not try to change what you're doing because you'll only get a short-term benefit. You'll always go back to the way you've always done it. If something's not working, stop and look at what is my way of thinking that's delivering this way of doing, that's creating this less than desirable result. Change the way you think, you'll change what you do, you'll get a better result.
Well, and I assume, and maybe I'm wrong, but I assume that the way that you implement this work might be different with a really large organization than if you're working with an entrepreneur or a small business. Is the process that you teach the same?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is the same. Nothing changes whether you have 6 people or 60,000 people. The only thing that changes is how do we communicate with everyone? How do we reach everyone? How do we model this with everyone? How do we ensure that this is being lived by everyone? And so it's scalability.
Hmm.
Is it easier to change the direction of a speedboat than an oil tanker? Of course it is. But is it possible to change the direction of an oil tanker? Of course it is. It's just, you have to have more patience, you have to have more time, you have to plan a little bit more. You don't just start to pull up to the dock and decide you want to change direction because you're going to take the dock out.
Right, right. So, share some examples like when you're working with smaller businesses or even entrepreneurs, what does that work look like? How are you helping these folks understand this idea of, and I love what you said, spending 50% of your time on the spirit of your business, like the fact that your business has, this spirit outside, like, and I think it's really true. It gets back to this reality that company culture, even in a small business, really takes on a feel of its own. And whether you want that, hopefully done right, I think it can really go wrong, especially if you haven't laid the foundation well for this. Or talk to us about, and in your own words, you can define how this process goes, but getting the wrong people inside of our business.
So, well, see, you just summed it all up right there. You get this. I mean, look, when do you create your culture? You create your culture when the idea of your organization is born in your mind. What is it that you believe? What do you value? Those values define your culture. And you say, well, it's just me. Take the time, put it in writing. There's a whole process for doing this. And matter of fact, for your listeners, we're going to give them a free values worksheet that they can use either individually or organizationally. This is critical. Define what the heck that culture is, because one, it will help you step it out on a consistent basis. Two, as you start to scale your business, when you're bringing people in, you hire people that can live the values. You hire people that are a great fit for the culture. If you hire people with a great skill set but don't fit the culture, then you don't have that culture. So
Yes.
you need to do this at the very onset. And
Well,
then you've got to stick to it. This is something that just it just can never vary.
right. Well, and I suspect that where small businesses get it wrong, based on my experiences, they hire for a specific need or a gap or like based on immediacy, right? And rather than looking at the bigger picture, which I think can really quickly get them headed in the wrong direction. So and I love, first of all, that one of the gifts that you're giving is this values worksheet, because whether you're doing it as a solo entrepreneur, creating a practice or a business based around your expertise, whether you're growing a small business, it's so important to know this. And the earlier you are in your journey, like the amount of heartache it could save you, right? I just get this sense of like, it really could keep you from going down the wrong path.
Right. And it's more than just having a list of words. There is an art form to this. We have led organizations of different sizes through this process. We've led organizations and government entities literally around the world through this process. If you don't do it right, you're going to have some great values. If you do it right, you'll have a great set of values, and it's a great set that creates a great culture. So it's really important that it's stepped out properly.
Well, I love that, the distinguishing between just great values and a great set of values. Talk to us about the magic of the set. And I assume it's done, like if you follow your worksheet, it's done in a very specific way, and
Well,
you're
exactly.
looking in
So
all the right
we
areas.
step you through it.
Mm.
So first of all, just having a word that's a value is nice. Like you say integrity. Okay, that's great. But Heather, what's integrity? If I said, okay, let's take 60 seconds right now. You write down your definition of integrity. I'll write down mine. I'll bet $1 million that your definition's different from mine. Now, I'm not saying they might be very similar. They might connect, overlap. But they will not be the same. Your words will be different from my words. And the values are the how in any
Right.
business.
How it gets expressed. How does it show up?
How are you going to step it out? Yeah. And the what, why, and how of business Um, the what is your purpose. The why is, well, the what is your mission. The why is your purpose. The how you do your business are your values. And so the wording for those values is important. Then a great set of values connects to 4 specific areas. And if you don't in the entirety of the set deal with, connect to all 4 areas, it won't be a great set. There's foundational values that talk about the character of the organization. There's relational values that define not relationships internal in the organization and external to the organization. There's professional values that talk about what professionalism is here, what excellence is here, and there's community values, how we connect to and serve the community that we're a part of. All those have to be covered if you're going to have a great set. But when you have a great set, you know, basically what you've done is you've made every decision you ever need to make as a business. The facts just haven't presented themselves yet. And so when you're faced with a challenge, all you have to do is connect back to your values. You have a great set of values, you'll make a great decision every time.
Well, and I think the other benefit of doing some of this foundational work is that when you are building your team, when you're making new decisions, when you're really doing anything to further your business growth, you can look at it through that framework of values. And does this fit? Is this in alignment with what I have said is the values of this company?
And then you hire people that have shown evidence in their past that those values are present. That means your interview questions need to be built around that. And you fire people that aren't living the values. And you hire slow, you fire fast. Because if you let someone stay in your organization that's not living the values, they're not your values.
Mm. Oh my goodness. I feel like we could go miles deep into this conversation. So Sam, talk to us.
Well, you know, we'll take it out another 4 or 5 hours and we'll get it covered.
We'll just create a master class.
There we go. We could do that. It would be good. It would be good. Now, see, there's a creative idea. I like it.
Right.
But you see, we have already connected on our values. We've connected through the values because your values, I already know that your values and my values align. And so we connect through the values. Once we connect through the values, then, man, just look out. No telling what can happen. And that's the way it is in an organization. People believe different things. That's okay. Look, you can go to church, the synagogue, the mosque. I don't care. You sit down, look to your right, look to your left. Those people believe different things, but you can agree on a set of values. And when people come together and agree on a set of values, they start working together, they care for each other, they have each other's backs, they build deeper, more meaningful relationships, and then guess what? Accountability magically shows up.
I love that. Ugh. Well, I just feel like there's so much for people to explore within this topic and this new framework of accountability that they may not have seen in that light before. So I love your approach to this topic. I love, it sounds like, and I want to get to what's coming next for you because you've really developed, I know, a really wide and deep set of resources on this topic, and you're taking it to the world in a much bigger way. Do you want to share with us for a minute about what's coming next for you and your work?
Well, Heather, thanks for asking that question. I appreciate that. We've actually founded the Accountability Institute, and the Accountability Institute is an organization that's going to be offering the Certified Accountability Advisor. And what we're doing is we're working with people who are or are working to want to become executive coaches, consultants, people that work with other individuals, leadership teams and organizations, people that are speaking or consulting, and bring them up to speed on what this is all about. So help them become a certified accountability advisor, providing them with all the tool sets, the programming, the resources, facilitation guides, workbooks, websites, marketing tools, so that they can take this message out and work with organizations on a global basis to build accountability into the culture, into their people, into their community. Remember, I told you that I don't own this message. I believe that I'm a steward of the message. And as a steward of something, one of the things that is part of being a steward is you have to provide for its future, a future even when you won't be there. And so the whole purpose of the Accountability Institute is to make sure that this message lives on, that this message is spread out, because my mission is to build a more accountable world. And to do that, I need other people who want to get on board and be a part of it.
Well, and it's a big mission and I love it. And I can see that the whole purpose of your mission is to, right, have results in the world. And when I think about a lot of pathways for coaches and consultants who want that, they want to create results. And yet, one of the biggest frustrations in that industry is working with clients, working with folks, working with businesses or organizations where you're not getting results. You're not getting, right, a changed outcome.
And that's what accountability ends up producing. So if a consultant or an executive coach wants to get better results with what they're teaching, when they build it on top of this foundation of accountability that we can prepare them to teach, they're going to get better results for their clients, and their clients are going to get better results inside their organization. And so it's going to help these coaches get better results with their clients, attract new clients, extend the relationships with their clients, be able to go deeper with their clients. And this is the bedrock. Everything that they're trying to build in that organization is going to sit on top of this. And if you build something on sand, there's no way that it's going to stand. So this is important.
Yeah, well, and it just sounds like an amazing set of resources that people can plug into as a way to, further the work that they're doing. And you're right, when you get results for your clients, it changes your client's business and it changes your business, because the only way we get referrals is because we're getting results for our clients, right? That's the only way.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Well, Sam, I really love your topic. I love your passion for this topic. I'm so excited for what is ahead and really look forward to supporting that path. For folks that want to connect with you, where would you like them to find you? Either online, at your website. If you spend time on social media, I'd like to hear about that. And we can obviously share all of these links in our show notes. So if you're still listening, you're welcome to connect with Sam through his links at our show notes page, legalwebsitewarrior.com/podcast. So Sam, where are you online?
Well, on social media, LinkedIn, pretty much everything is Sam Silverstein. LinkedIn, Sam Silverstein. If you're on Clubhouse, Sam Silverstein. YouTube, I have maybe 500 videos up there on YouTube under Sam Silverstein. Yeah, and it's samsilverstein.com is the website. If you want that values worksheet, it's free. Just go to valuesworksheet.com and it'll take you through to download it. And if you are either thinking about or you are an executive coach or consultant and you want to learn more about your business and learn more about the Accountability Institute, then go to coachingblindspot.com. And there's a quick 11-question quiz at coachingblindspot.com that'll show you maybe a blind spot that you have in your business, because we like to serve value first, and then it'll provide you information or show you how to get more information on the Certified Accountability Advisor.
Oh, that's amazing. And yeah, if you're listening, be sure to check out those links. We'll share them in the show notes. And Sam, just so we don't make a mistake, I think it might be executive coachingblindspot.com, just in case somebody's going directly to the link.
Both links will take you to the same place.
So good to know.
Thank you. I love that. See, you've done your homework. I appreciate that.
Just wanted to make sure that if people are trying to go right over to the link, they've got it. And I had something different down, so I'm glad we clarified that. Sam, I'm so grateful to know you. I'm so happy that we're connected. What final words do you have for our listeners? What takeaways, action steps, final thing do you want them to be thinking about?
If you're trying to build a better business, if you're trying to build a better family, if you want to be part of a better community or world, we each have to do our part. And however you define better, it's going to flow from a way of thinking, not a way of doing. And I would like to encourage everyone that's listening to approach accountability as a way of thinking, see that it's based on valuing people, and look to adopt. Go get that values worksheet, put it in play, live those values, step it out. Let me know how they're working for you. I'm working to build a more accountable world. I want you to join me in that process.
Thank you, Sam. I'm so grateful for this conversation. Look forward to connecting again soon.
Thank you, Heather.